Welcome to Luxuriously Poor, and thank you guys for coming back. God bless you, and I really appreciate you coming. Now, today I want to talk to you about saving money, tips on what you can do. Stay away from places like this. Do not make this a weekly trip. Make this maybe a once a month luxury. You'll save a whole lot of money that way. Put your kids' pancakes, freeze them if you have to, and then put them in the toaster to heat them up, because you can freeze your own pancakes. The next thing is never pay full price for meat. Learn to do without it. Learn to do with different cuts, and learn to buy it only when it's on sale. And it does come on sale, but when it does, you have to be prepared to get 6 to 7 months worth. You do, because that's just how it is. I mean, at 88 cents a pound, they don't do this every couple of weeks. They do this maybe once a year. Maybe once a year. But it's worth it. $50, $60. Another tip, this has to do with water, and this also has to do with price also. This was 80 cents a pound. Now, that's dirt cheap for this, because this is going to become a meal. But what I'm going to show you today is how to save a whole lot of water. A lot of people clean these by running them under water, or they'll take and fill a bowl with water and they'll dip them down in that. And then when the bowl gets full of seeds, they turn around and they'll empty it and pour more water. Well, don't. Get yourself a paper plate, get a spoon, and clean the seeds out without using water. We forget just how precious water is. But if the time comes and the government decides we're just using too much water, they can cut it off on us. They've done it in other places. And then you got so many people who do not know what to do and how they can preserve water. Even when it comes to cleaning dishes, they use an astronomical amount of water. And I mean astronomical. And so, this way, some people, they will take it and run it under the sink while they're doing this. Don't. No water is required to clean the seeds out of something. You can take a spoon and rake them out. And do the same thing with jalapenos, and take the seeds out and take the little line that's in there, the membrane, which is what makes them hot. But this is a perfect way to get your seeds out. A good idea also is just keep a bowl. I have a dishpan in my sink, and there's a small amount of water in there, and that is used all day to just wash and rinse the hands, and there's a towel right there to dry them with. And that's it. That water stays there till the end of the day, and then I use that water. I'll take a rag, wash around to wash the dishpan out with, and then I just pour the water out. But we need to be real careful about water. Water is going to become a very serious problem. These are silicone cupcake holders. Okay? Now, I've never bought anything like this before. And I made cupcakes this morning in them. I don't frost cupcakes. That's more sugar than what I want. But silicone cupcake holders, or I don't know what you want to call them, they do save money. They really do. You don't have to worry about buying the paper. You don't even have to worry about buying or having like well, hold on, I'll get it and show you. You don't need one of these little cupcake tins. You can use these by either sitting them on a rack of your oven, just sit them right on the rack, or a cookie sheet. I set mine, and I have an electric toaster oven, okay? And I bake in that thing because I bought it. It had a rotisserie where you could do rotisserie chicken. My son actually bought it for me as a Christmas present, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I still got it. And I bake. I make my biscuits in it, everything. And I just set these on a cookie sheet. Now, I want you to understand, there's a lot of people who use these for eggs. They freeze eggs in it. In other words, box cake usually calls for 3 eggs, okay? And they'll put the 3 eggs in a bowl, and they will blend them, blend the eggs good. They'll pour them into one of these little silicone holders, cupcake holders. They will set them in the freezer. Now, you could actually use your little cupcake tins by putting the silicone holder in that. Put your eggs in it, the 3 that you blend, because a lot of people get a whole lot of extra eggs in the summer when the chickens are laying. And so they want to freeze some of them where they can use them during the winter when the chickens maybe are not laying as good. And they will freeze those in the little silicone holders, and they will take them, wrap them in saran wrap, or you don't have to. You can just drop them down in the freezer bags just that way. Once they're frozen, then you can pull the little silicone cupcake off of it, off the eggs, and while they're frozen, and then just put them in there, and then you can when you take them out of the freezer, set them in a bowl and let them defrost. Now, I'm going to say one other thing. You don't have to have a yard full of chickens to do this, okay? Don't let that stop you. So many times people, they let certain things stop them because they're like, well, I don't have a bunch of chickens running around in my yard, so I can't do that. Yes, you can. When they put the eggs on sale at the store, or they're at a fairly decent price, you can do the same thing. Pop 3 eggs in a bowl, and that's it. Blend them, put them in there, and do the same thing as if it was just your chickens in the backyard. Now, this is another tip. This is a shower cap that you can put over your head, okay? And I use these all the time. Now, I will admit I want to get a bigger one and a little bit thicker, but Walmart didn't have them in plastic. All they ever have had is cloth. So I have my son on the hunt to see if he can find me one that is plastic. This came from Dollar Tree. 8 of them for $1. But they're a little bit on the thin side, and I'm concerned it wouldn't take much to cut it. Now, I've used this thing already 15 times, and it's not cut yet. But 8 come into a bag, and I may pick up more because, just to have them on hand. I bought these because saran wrap or cling wrap, whatever you want to call it, that stuff ain't cheap. Now, some people will say, well, you could buy glass bowls with plastic covers. And I'm like, thank you, that costs too much money, and I don't have that kind of money. And the plastic covers that come with the glass bowls break too. They crack. And so this works fine. I could put a plate over the top of it, but with my family, who is not very careful when it comes to the refrigerator, the plate gets knocked off. The food that's inside ends up dry as heck the next day. And I have had that happen to me many, many times. So I don't trust putting plates on things. Now, this is a pan. This is my rice pan. I love this thing. It was given to me 40 years ago by a friend, but she didn't have the top to it. Now, I have old tops that I use with it, no problem, but they really don't fit it. So it's okay when I'm cooking on top of the stove, but the problem of it is once I put that in the refrigerator, the pot, because if I make rice, I'm going to leave it in this pot. And what happens is the top gets knocked off, and I have the same problem. Dry rice. Very dry. And I've had that happen to me several times. Well, not with this. That don't happen. It's perfectly fine in the refrigerator. Top doesn't get knocked off of it. In general, they don't knock over bowls. They just knock the tops off of them or tops off of the containers, unless it fits fairly tight. Then that doesn't happen. And so this saves me a whole lot of money. It really does. A lot of people, if they don't have cling wrap or saran wrap, they'll actually jump in the car and go to the store. I know people who do it. And when you can't reuse cling wrap, really, you can't. It bunches together. Now, this doesn't. This don't bunch together. You can put cling wrap over something like this, but the problem of it is once you take it off, it has a tendency to just bunch up, and it's not really reusable. I wash this. I stick it in my dishwasher. Not dishwasher. I don't have a dishwasher. When I wash my dishes, I put it in there and I wash it. Then I set it over to the side in the drain board and I let it dry. And I've used, like I said, this one here 15 times, but I have 7 more. The 8 came in the bag for $1. And it works perfectly. Now, it's a little bit thinner than I would like. I want to get 1 or 2 that are more heavy duty, and I'm going to look at Walmart. They didn't have them when I've been there before, but like I said, I have my son hunting, and I will keep hunting too because I want to find a little bit thicker one so that I can put it over bowls when I'm raising bread, bread dough. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and God bless.